Oh my gosh, y'all. Welcome to Women's Wellness Journey. We do have this live webinar. It is the first Tuesday of every single month. I can't wait to introduce you to our special speaker. Y'all, this is Mendy Applegate. You all can get her credentials at the end of this video. Sit and listen to this information. I want to tell you a little bit about her. She is the founder of the Honeydew Checklist. Also, she has this HDC Academy. I really hope that we hear more about it. Mendy, it is so good to have you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate it and excited to teach.
Oh, girl, take it away. I'm so excited to hear this information.
Okay. Well, again, thank you so much for having me. Today, we are going to talk about some boss moves. So, 10 secrets to stop breaking your business. So, we're just going to get into it today because I'm on it and we are spicy. So, let's do this today. So, here is the hard truth. You don't know what you don't know. It's expensive in your business. Passion doesn't fix broken systems. So you can be the best at what you do and the passion that you have and still lose your business to bad operations. You're not struggling in your business because you're lazy. Normally, we're struggling in our business because you're flying blind. No one gave you an owner's manual when you started a small business. So that is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to get you educated. We're going to invest in your company setup, not just in the skills that you provide, but the passion that you have needs to have a plan. So this training is for you. Winging it is not a business strategy. It's gambling with the future of your company. Scary tax surprises aren't surprises. They're usually the bill for lack of education and not understanding how taxes work. And clarity doesn't come from wishing. It comes from structure and consistently showing up in your business. So that's what we're going to talk about today. At the end of this, I'm going to give you a bunch of information. So if you are interested in getting the free resources that are available, you will email me and I will send all those to you. So don't worry about missing anything. I want to make sure you get everything that you need to move forward. So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about everything from networking to logos and branding, contracts, and even your numbers and budgets. So here we go. I want to make sure you understand this about me. Ooh, I want to make sure you understand this about me. Let's move back up. There we go. I am a no fluff, no BS kind of girl. I like to shoot straight. I want people to have the information they need and the education they need in order to be successful in their business. So that is what I'm going to promise you today to make sure that you are moving in the right direction for your company. So a little bit of information about me, just so you know, my background is actually oil and gas accounting and operations. So I did that for a long time. I got laid off in 2020 during COVID, right? Unfortunately, I was one of the people that didn't make it. And that's actually when I started my company. So I started doing a lot of virtual assistant services, working with small businesses, building out their back office support, running software, CRMs, email marketing, a lot of accounting services. So I just kind of came into these small businesses, helped them build out their companies. And what I finally noticed consistently is that a lot of people struggle with the operations part of their company. Again, no one hands us an owner's manual. So people don't even understand what they need to be doing in order to be successful in their business. So that is where I come in. And so I have built out these platforms. I have built out the HDC Academy, which you're going to hear more information on today, and get people set up correctly in their business to feel confident, no longer overwhelmed, no more 2 a.m. spiral that some of us go through. I want to make sure you have exactly what you need to grow and build successfully. You don't rise to the level of your passion. You fall to the level of your systems and your operations. So again, today we're going to go through and we're going to use everything that we're going to do on this call to build a compliant business so that you're not spending countless thousands of dollars right? On sub, you know, subscriptions that you won't ever use or coaching calls that you might not even be ready for in your business. I don't want you spending countless hours doing a lot of stuff that isn't required. So we're going to walk through some of the fundamentals today I see consistently. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get into it. So secret number one is about networking and referrals. So here's the hard truth. Okay. Basic rule of business, as we all know, is if people don't know, like, and trust you, they are not going to refer you, and they're probably not going to be doing business with you. So you need to make sure that you are setting up an organic network. So what does that look like? That can be anything from your local community and chambers to a lot of networking events online. I personally do a lot of in-person networking, but I also do a lot of online networking. So making sure that your community that you're growing is going to support you, whatever that looks like. My business crosses state lines, so I get to do a lot of networking out of state, actually. So you need to make sure that you understand your ideal client so that you can position yourself in the position of where they are, right? If you're local, you need to invest locally. But if you can work across state lines and work globally, then don't limit yourself. There's so many different networking, and I have a ton of resources available if you're interested. So just make sure that you are getting in front of other business owners. Your network will open doors for you that your marketing cannot do. So make sure you are being intentional with your time. People don't buy from strangers, right? So if you're not visible, you are invisible. So that is the number one piece. Make sure that you are scheduling one-on-one intentional time building out your community. We do not want to collect connections, okay? We want to build intentional relationships, follow up, show up, schedule the coffee, and make sure that you are being memorable. Number two, logo and branding. People will recognize your logo long before they recognize who you are. So, a cute logo isn't a brand. It's the visual identity of your brand. So when it comes to a logo, make sure that you are choosing 2 to 3 core brand colors that stick with you everywhere. Okay. Everywhere from your email marketing, your social media, even your invoicing, everywhere. We want to make sure it's simple, memorable, and versatile. If people don't recognize your vibe before they know your name, your branding is not strong enough. So branding is about shaping how customers feel and think about your business. It helps you stand out in crowded markets, create a memorable identity, and it also builds confidence in your business and encourages repeat customers. We want to make sure, no matter what we do when it comes to logo and branding, that we are building a lasting impression and that people remember us. Secret 3. So I'm going to give you some really hard truths, okay? 36 to 53% of small businesses are sued every year. 43% of small businesses are threatened with a lawsuit, and about 45%, so almost 1 in 2 companies, are currently involved in litigation. One uninsured accident or unsigned contract can wipe your business out overnight. Handshake deals and that will never happen to me are rookie mindsets. And as a society, we have to be protected of ourselves and our companies. You are personally liable until you make your business its own legal entity. Make sure that you have contracts and insurance that are protecting yourself, that you have release of liability, indemnification, accident waivers. Make sure that you are also getting insured in your business. you're using written contracts. And when I say written contracts, make sure that you have a scope of work, what you are requiring, or what the expectations are for you and what the expectations are for your clients. Make sure you're taking pictures depending on the industry you're in before, during, and after any project so that you have some kind of evidence in case for some reason you get sued, you have something to fall back on. And then again, make sure you are including liability waivers. I was talking to a client of mine, and somehow we just started talking about insurance, and we were talking about vehicle coverage. And she told me that she had 25, 50, 25, which was the state minimum. Well, that is never going to be my recommendation for you. I went and I said, I don't recommend that. I said, you really need to call your insurance agent. You know, I said, for me personally, I recommend 100, 300, 100, especially for business owners, because if something happens to us, we need that protection, right? So she called her insurance company. And do you want to know how much it cost her to raise her rates to 100, 300, 100? $5 a month. So what does that look like for you? So make sure you're sitting down with your insurance agent and truly understanding how insurance works and finding someone who can help you with contracts. Make sure you have language in there, depending on the size of your jobs. You know, do you want to have them pay half up front? What is the scope of work? You know, again, highly recommend pictures depending on the type of work that you do. What is the language in your contract that you're using to protect yourself and your business? Secret number 4. Okay, I always love to talk about company setup and compliance. So, number 1, always, every single time, make sure that you consult a CPA when you decide what kind of tax business structure you set up. Okay. I hear it all the time. People are like, oh, just go out there and set up an LLC. And that is absolutely not my recommendation. There are different benefits and ramifications based on the type of company you set up. So I'm going to give you just one example. So let's say you set up a normal everyday LLC, okay, and you gross a profit of $100,000, okay? Well, because of the company setup you have as an LLC, you're automatically taxed 15.3% for self-employment tax. So if you netted $100,000, you would be paying in $15,000 in just self-employment tax, plus any kind of federal income tax that would be required. But let's say you set up an S corporation. So an S corporation, if you made $100,000, but you paid yourself $60,000 as a paycheck, okay, only the $60,000 is now taxable for the self-employment tax. So instead of getting charged $100,000, now it's $60,000. Okay. So you are technically saving 15% tax on $40,000. Okay. That's a $6,000 savings just by setting up an S corporation and paying yourself monthly. So I don't know about you. I have no desire to pay the government any extra money if I don't absolutely have to. So it's just stuff like that, right? If you don't understand business structures and how it works, it can drastically change the amount of money that you pay in at tax season. So please sit down, have a conversation with the CPA, and make sure you're setting yourself up for the best outcome at the end of the year. Once you decide on a tax ID business structure, please go out and set up a bank account with that tax ID number. We never, ever, ever want to commingle funds. We never want you to mix your business and personal together. We need to make sure those are always separated. Any kind of income and expenses come out of a business. And then if you need to pay personal bills, we want you to do a payroll check okay, which is federal, Social Security, Medicare in Oklahoma for Oklahoma people. That paycheck needs to go into your personal account, or you can do an owner draw, which is basically moving money. So $1,000 from the business, and you write yourself a check for $1,000 without any taxes coming out. That is considered a draw or a transfer. Okay. We never want you commingling funds. We always want there to be a very clear distinction, because if anything happens and you got sued, what would happen is, because you haven't made a clear distinction, you are giving them access to everything in your business and everything in your personal. And we never want you to be in that position. So that is why we recommend never commingling funds. I also strongly recommend that you keep receipts. Most of my clients, we buy a little $6.99 accordion file from Amazon. And every single time you purchase something for the business, I tell people to print the receipt, put it in your little accordion file, and now your entire year, you have records of everything that you have purchased. Now, of course, not everyone is a paper person, and I completely understand that. So always scan your receipts. You can attach them to most of your accounting softwares. So whether you want to do it like that or any other way, completely fine. But my recommendation is always, always, always to keep the receipts. And that includes your apps. So if you are paying or receiving from Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, all of them, make sure that you are doing the exact same thing with those, because we don't want to get into a position where a year from now you need to have a receipt and you don't have it, and now you're having to go dig through thousands of transactions trying to find proof that it was actually business related. Okay, secret number 5, budgets and banking. If you don't know your numbers in your business, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. And I mean that in the loving, most kindest way possible. Budgeting isn't restrictive. Budgeting is actually freedom on paper. If you're only looking at your financials at tax time, then you're basically self-sabotaging your own company. So I never want people to be in that position. I want you to be reviewing your profit and loss every single month. I want you to create a budget that tells your money where it's going before it all disappears. So I am going to walk you through a very quick budget. And this is what I tell people. It makes it very simple. So what I want you to do, I want you to start with your personal items. I want you to start with, what is your mortgage or your rent every month? How much are your utilities? Insurance, cable, car insurance, cell phones, all the stuff, right? And again, estimate. I mean, I understand that things fluctuate. So maybe do an average, right? Take what you're paying throughout the year, divide it by 12, and put it in the bucket so you have an average of what that looks like for you. Then I want you to do the same thing for the business. Okay. Are you paying a rent or a lease? Do you have home utility, or do you have office utilities, health insurance, websites, Adobe's, right? All the things that we pay for as a business owner. So I'm just going to use this example. For example, use this chart as an example. At the bottom, you can see the total expenses is $38.60. Okay. So this is what I tell people. I want you to get a high level review. We're going to take $38.60, and I tell people just go ahead and round up. Okay. So we need to be making $4,000 a month to cover our basic, right, overhead expenses, right? This is no food, no gas, no entertainment, no anything else. This is just basic. I don't want my utilities to get cut off. I don't want to get kicked out of my home, but this gives people a really good place to start. So we're going to go $4,000. Most of us work 4 weeks a month. So we're going to take that by 4, which leads us to $1,000 a month. We're going to divide that by 5 days a week, because that's what most of us work. Okay, so that's $200 a day, and most of us work 8 hours a day. So that means we would need to make $25 an hour. Okay, that is, again, base, right? Most of us, when we start a company, we struggle with how to even price ourselves, because 1, we don't feel confident in our ability or what we bring to the table. And 2, we have no concept how to price ourselves because we've never done it. So this is a really good way also to make sure that you're bringing in enough money to cover your bills, right? If you know that you have to make 25, then I would probably tell you you need to be pulling 40 or 50 an hour, right? In order to cover food and gas and all the other stuff. We want to create some kind of profit margin. So this is a really good place to start, in order just to even understand where you need to be, how you want to pay yourself, because that needs to be included. You need to make sure you have a line of paying yourself on your budget for sure. So this is a really good place to start. Okay, so we're going to talk about sales. This is what no one tells us, right? 15% of your business is actually your technical ability and the services you provide. The other 85% is all the other pieces that nobody tells you about, right? You cannot be shy and successful. Confidence converts leads into sales. Okay, that is the number one thing when it comes to building your business. Most people fail in business not because they're bad at what they actually do, it's because they're bad at selling what they actually do. Selling isn't pushy. Selling is actually a service, right? We want people to understand what we do, how we can support them, and how we can make their lives easier. We need to understand our offer. We need to understand who our ideal client is and how do we find them. And we need to stop apologizing for charging what we're actually worth. So I would love to hear from you. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses in business? So I tell people all the time, my strengths are probably accounting and operations, which is why I do what I love to do. One of the biggest things in my business I struggled with was social media. I do not like social media. That is not my happy place. I would spend hours trying to write social media, and it's not worth my time, right? So I hired that piece out of my business. They take care of it for me. They handle it, they post everything, and I love it. That is not my strength. And I understand that. And it's not the best use of my time as a business owner. So, really sit down and discuss what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses in your business. Customer experience and repeat business. So, here are some facts: 92% of consumers trust referrals from people they actually know. 92%. People who are actively seek out and ask for referrals actually earn 4 to 5 times more money. Okay. So if your clients don't come back, your business model is broken. Chasing new customers constantly is exhausting, and actually, it's really expensive on your business. Revenue and referrals are your unpaid sales team. We want to make sure that we are staying in front of our current clients, but also being active with them. So, how are you engaging with your clients? This is something I say all the time. I want to be present, not pushy. I am constantly in front of my clients. I send gifts 3 times a year. If they have a birthday, I will send over crumble cookies. I did something as simple as I went and got $1 scratchers, put them in a card, and say, I hope you're as lucky as I am to have clients like you. Do you know what that did for my clients? Do you know how they felt getting a handwritten card from me with a $1 scratcher? I mean, my clients loved it. It doesn't have to be extravagant. So I tell people, get out of your head, right? It doesn't have to be extravagant. Make sure it's something fun and memorable, and stay engaged. Get engaged with them. I mean, I do this for my customers, but I also do this for some of my vendors, some of the people that work for me, and I send them gifts. I mean, but it's about staying in front because I want people to always remember me. If they are sitting down and they have questions about accounting or they have questions about business education, I want them always to think of me. So again, how are you staying in front of your current clients? And then, are you asking these questions to your current clients? Do you know someone who would be a good referral for me? Would you be willing to give me a review on Google or social media? Again, they want to support you. So, what are you doing in order for them? How are you helping them support you? Right? So, that's the question at the end of the day. Time management and delegation. Okay. I say this almost every single day. Time is your greatest asset. And as we all know, time is hard when it comes to being a business owner, right? Between owning the business and doing all the other responsibilities that we have and soccer practices and all the other million things that we need to do. I just need to go get groceries, right? There's so many things we have to do, and owning a business is just one more piece. So, how are you staying organized in your business, right? Most of us are not too busy. Most of us are too unorganized, or we have absolutely no structure or automations in our company. Every hour that we spend on non-revenue generating tasks, it's actually money out the window for us. And also, burnout is not a badge of honor. It's actually a warning sign that you are doing things very, very wrong in your business. So what we want to do, we want to batch our work. We want to try and focus on specific tasks at the same time. We want to protect your focused hours. So make sure you're time blocking your day, right? Most of us sleep, whatever, 10 to 6 a.m. Start time blocking. Time block personal time block family time block vacations. Everything should be time blocked. Time block is a huge piece of owning a business, and I think it's really underused and underrated. So definitely think about what you're doing on your days. We need to also be delegating low value tasks. If it does not make you money or it is creating chaos in your life, it either needs to be automated so you're not having to manually manage it, or it needs to be eliminated. So I do want to give you just kind of a high level idea of time management. And this is how some of my clients are doing their days now. So for me, for example, from 8 to 10 a.m., I come in, I start working on emails, make phone calls, do all the stuff I need to do. 10 a.m., I shut down my Outlook. And this thing here, this is always turned off. I have absolutely zero notifications that go off on this phone, because normally if this thing goes off, what do? We're like, ooh, let me check that. No, we don't want to check this. I don't care about this. This is one more distraction as far as it comes to when it comes into my world. So everything, for example, my clients, everything's through email, right? So I work from 8 to 10, 10 to noon. I turn my email completely off, and I literally just kick out tasks. That's all I do. 10 to 2, I open my email back up, respond to messages, make phone calls, do all the stuff I need to do. 2 to 4, shut the email down again and kick out task, right? So what that does is that gives me 4 hours a day of uninterrupted activity. The phone's not ringing, the email's not, making my eye twitch because I see things popping in there, and I can sit down and just work. So what are you doing to make your day mapped out? Do you have networking meetings? Are you actually including 30 minutes before for drive time and 30 minutes after? You get back into the office to give yourself some time to look through your email, right? That's something big, is if you go and you're on a call, add 30 minutes to your schedule so you can write notes or send emails or update your CRM or whatever that looks like. So make sure that you are blocking extra time for tasks like that, because that's usually where most of us kind of run out of time, is we're not actually using the full amount of time that we need to in order to complete tasks completely. Understanding the cost of not outsourcing. So doing everything yourself isn't saving your business any money, as much as people like to believe that. It's actually costing you more than likely opportunities and leads and sales that you do not have access to because you don't have the time available on your schedule. I can't afford help actually means I haven't calculated the cost of doing everything myself. And if you're doing $10 an hour task, you're actually blocking out $100 an hour in growth. Okay. So this is what I tell people: hire strategically, whether that's virtual assistants, bookkeepers, administrative support, your social media team. Start small, but you need to start now. Okay. If you can go and charge $100 an hour, every hour you spend going through emails or making phone calls or sending contracts, every time that you sit down and you do that, how much money are you making? Zero. I know the number. I have it. Zero. You're making nothing. Every hour where you could be sitting down and spending another hour with another client for $100, right? So how much money are you truly losing in your business? So I love to give this visual representation because most of us are visual learners. If you go and you make $100 an hour and you go ahead and hire a VA, admin, bookkeeper, social media, right? And they charge $50 an hour. Okay. 5 hours a week, right? Let's just say 5 hours a week. You can make an extra $250 a week and an extra $1,000 a month. And that is actually having people help your business, right? That is giving you all of your time back. You are less stressed because you are no longer doing a bunch of these administrative bookkeeping. If that makes your eye, want to cry. I mean, you don't have to do it. Again, focus on what you love in your business. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And whatever you are not enjoying doing, you procrastinate on, you constantly feel like, oh my gosh, I have no desire to do that. Those are always going to be the first things that I tell people to recommend to hire out, because more than likely, those are the pieces that are actually draining your business. So definitely think about this, sit down, think about the stuff that you love to do, think about the stuff you hate to do, and start hiring strategically to get those pieces off your plate. Secret 10. The businesses that last aren't the ones that never mess up. They're the ones that keep going, keep growing, keep learning, and keep moving. Perfection kills progress. Businesses don't die from failure. They die from inaction and not making needed adjustments in their business. Pivoting your company isn't quitting. It's adjusting the strategy to win. So I tell people this consistently, and I've done this every single year in my business. I will sit down and go, what brought me joy this year? What drained my energy? What clients did I take on that after I started doing it, I was like, I don't want to do this? Because those things that are draining you is actually limiting your company. I have made so many changes in this company. I provided services I no longer provide. I have moved into business education, which I absolutely love. So you have to evaluate, adjust, and grow your business every single time. I say sometimes do it monthly. Sit down, write 5 things that you love doing this month and 5 things that drained your energy this month in your business. Do it consistently. Do it monthly, do it quarterly, every 6 months, add it to your calendar. We need to sit down and do a evaluate, adjust, and grow strategy in our business, right? Again, review, adjust, repeat. Here's the other thing. Don't get emotionally attached to what isn't working, right? Motion is survival in this business. So just because you move and change and make adjustments in your business, you have not failed. You are actually realigning your company to where it needs to be. Okay. So after all of this, I hope that this is the feeling that you're getting. So we're going to talk about just a few other things. So this is what I want you to imagine. What would it look like to have a business that actually runs smoothly, clients that trust you and you love working with, your finances are together and they actually make sense to you, and you actually feel confident every time the tax season hits? So, this is how you can actually do this. So, here's the thing, you really have two options. Okay. You can keep guessing and Googling and pay for it in stress and taxes at the end of the year and absolute burnout. Or you can actually choose mentorship before desperation. Success is faster with a map and a mentor. So here are some of the goodie bags. If you are interested in these freebies, I will give them to you. You just have to email me or connect with Connie, and she will absolutely take care of you. So the first one you're going to get is what's called a business essentials checklist. That basically, we're going to give you everything you actually need to build a strong, legitimate foundation for your company. The second freebie I'm going to give you is, are you actually ready to hire a bookkeeper? I see this all the time. People are doing it in Excel or Google Sheets, and they're like, I just feel like this isn't my strong suit. I don't even know if I'm really in a position to hire. Am I actually ready to hire someone? So that is what this quiz is going to give you. It's going to give you a bunch of questions you can ask yourself. And then the third one is a bookkeeper's hiring checklist. Okay. I have people say all the time, I'm not a bookkeeper, right? And I don't even know what questions to ask. How would I even know I'm hiring the right person for my business? So that is what this is going to do. These are going to be questions that you can ask them to make sure that you are hiring someone that's a right fit for your company. Okay. I want to talk to you about the HDC Academy. So this is a business development course that I have created that teaches you everything you need to understand about business ownership. So what you get in the course, you actually get a curriculum. So we're going to sit down. We're going to talk about specific parts of your business, simple, actionable steps for every single piece. You get action items. So I'm going to walk you through and say, these are the things that I want you to do this month that will go with your curriculum. So those are included in this course. You actually get live Q&A coaching calls every single month. The members that I have now love it because they get to sit down with business owners who are in the same position they're in and ask questions, right? The mastermind for me is the piece that I absolutely love. How did you do this? I'm struggling with this piece. Was there anything that you did in your business? So having a community to sit there and help you and answer questions and bounce ideas off of has been amazing. And I love to see all these business owners now working together because they have built out, the relationships in order to do that successfully together. You also included our templates, contracts, plug and play resources. Everything that you need to build a successful business is included in this course. You do not have to go out and Google or try and build out any kind of templates or contracts. So all of that is also included in the course. You're going to get proven tools that I have spent almost 6 years working with small businesses on. These are things that I have done year after year to help businesses get where they need to go. So there's over $10,000 worth of materials and education that's in this course. So this is some of the things that people are saying about the HDC Academy. People love this course because, again, it's talking about all the things that no one tells you when you first start a business. I want to hand you the owner's manual nobody gave you, and that is what this platform is going to do for you. So I would love to invite you to join the Academy and invest into the full company setup to make you feel more comfortable and confident in your business. So this is all the stuff that's included in the Academy. It's a complete business curriculum. You get checklists, Q&A calls, all your service contracts, financial statements, onboarding docs, and then proven tools and systems. As discussed, you're also going to get 3 free checklists and quizzes in order to go for being on the call today. So that's included. So it's over $10,000 worth of value. And our price starts at $999, and that is for the year. That is to rent it. So it's over $10,000 in value. There are multiple options. So if you want to pay it in full, of course, that is the best value. There is a split payment plan, and then there is also a alternative. So there's a 12-month course if you want to kind of go more slowly through the process, but there's also an accelerated 6-month course if you want to get the entire program done in 6 months. So those are the 2 payment options available for this course. So now I'd love to ask if you have any questions, and if there's anything that I can address for you and any answers I can give you when it comes to your business.
Oh my gosh. There are so many questions. They are lining up. So please, if we can, I know you got to grab a sip of water because that was so excellent. I feel like I can hear the whole crowd going, "Ooh," like all the applause. This is such great information that, okay, the first thing that I'm going to say is if you think you want to own a business, it doesn't matter if you're a doctor, it doesn't matter if you are a plumber, it this is the first step. How much money do you think that you saved people? I'm just going to go ahead and jump out with this question, okay? How much money would you average that you've saved people whenever they've started their business? Does that question make sense?
Thousands, thousands, thousands. I mean, I mean, and that's the thing about the HDC Academy, which has been really fun, is I have business owners who recently started their company in the last 3 months. But I also have business owners who have been in business for 10 years. And what they did is they set up their company, but they never set it up correctly or with structure. They kind of went and they started making money. And right. And then we're just going, right? But we never stop, right? And slow back down and go, well, did I set that up correctly or should I have done that? I mean, I went and I also do her accounting services, and we converted her from an LLC to an S corporation this year because I'm like, you need to be an S corporation. I can tell you right now, she saved $9,000 on taxes. So that was just taxes because she didn't know any better, right? No one had sat down, and she's been in business 10 years. No one has sat down and said, this structure is not working for you, right? And again, she's like, I go and I'm doing good and I'm making money, but just because you're making strong revenue in your business does not mean that your foundations of your company are set up correctly, right? And I see one thing happen, and I have seen companies implode within a month because something happened. COVID is a great example. Something happened and their business has imploded because they had no kind of structure, no budgets, no system. They had absolutely nothing to help them and support them during that process. So it's a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned the HDC Academy. That is my favorite.
Yes.
Is that where people should start?
Absolutely. I mean, I think for me personally, I think everyone should start in the academy. I think it is going to give you the fundamentals and the foundations that people truly need in order to start and grow their business. Again, I have a girl, and we had our live Q&A call. She just started her business in May. So proud of her. She's killing it. And she said, oh, hey, Mendy, I did one of these sections that she's in. And I said, my question is, if you would not have been in the academy, would you have done that? And she goes, I wouldn't even have known I should do that. And so, like, we have set up her pricing and we have set up all these systems for her. And she's like, this is so easy. And she's like, I never would have done this if I didn't have this course in order and the mentorship in order to do this. And that's what
Oh
makes me
gosh.
feel good, right? Like knowing that I'm getting to change lives. I'm getting to change empire. I'm getting to build my empire on the backs of helping other small business owners. And that is what I absolutely love about what I get to do.
I love that you are an entrepreneur's mentor.
Mhm.
I feel like if you were to put in little bitty mini words, Mendy Applegate, entrepreneur, mentor, let's go. Jump into the academy today. Do you want me to do
Yeah,
a commercial for you?
I would love that. Let's go, girl.
All right. So, oh, this is, sometimes we've got to, sometimes we've got to, I mean, if I'm going to ask you these questions and I've got you here, let's talk about red flags,
Mm.
not pink, but red. So, what are some red flags that tell a business owner their bookkeeping system isn't working, even if they think it is? Remember that woman? You said she's making money. What are those red flags?
Well, number one for me is always going to be if you are not looking at your financials every single month and you truly don't understand how much money you have coming in and you don't know how much money you have going out, you have a problem, right? Um, and I mean, even her, I showed her a profit and loss and example, because I don't know the numbers, but let's say she made $5,000 in income. Well, at the bottom of one of the months, she had actually spent $7,000. Okay, so she was in the hole by $2,000 that month. And her question to me was, "Well, my bank account wasn't in the negative." And that's how people think, right? I made five, I spent seven. My profit and loss says I'm in the hole $2,000, and I'm like, but that is how normal people, right, look at numbers. So they don't even truly understand. I mean, it has that number has nothing to do with your bank account, right? That's you spent $7,000 and you had the 2,000 in the account from previous months, right? So it's just stuff like that. If you don't truly, I mean, I literally had a company, they had someone doing their accounting, manually loading in their transactions, paying someone 40 hours a week to do their accounting. I took over their accounting. I spend 3 hours a month, and they actually have reporting that makes sense to them. Now the business owner is going, "Oh my God, how much money have I been spending in all of these areas for absolutely no reason?" So for me, it's about perspective. Like, I mean, and that's something I do. I do a lot of strategy conversations with business owners because you are in the grind, right? You are in your company, you are trying to make changes, you are trying to survive. And when you have someone like me come in where I do strategy sessions and we sit down and look at your business and we go, what is working, right? What is not working? Where are you stressed? Where, and I can sit down and go, these are some changes I would tell you to make. And I did that for a company. And at this point, I had her close her office one day a week. I had her change her office hours from 10 to 8, noon to 8. And it completely changed the dynamic of her business because she's like, now I actually get a day off. Now I have the mornings to go do all the things I have to do. She was able to cut her staff because now she's only open noon to 8. So she only has to hire one person for 8 hours. So it's stuff, I mean, stuff like that. And because she's all in the weeds, she can't see it. And she's like, life changing. One conversation with me was life changing, and her business is thriving now because she is not in burnout anymore. So, all of that, I mean, just it matters having people that, and I think for me, it's also about the support system and the community. Having other people that you can sit and have conversations with and mastermind with and work through hard problems with. I love networking, and I say this every day. I love networking. I love meeting people, but for me, the masterminds where I can sit down and go, this isn't working in my business, right? I built this, no one's paying for it. Why? What do I do? And having those people in your company and your community feed into you, it's life changing. You don't have to do this alone, right? This small business ownership for me is not about doing it alone. It's about building a community that will help you grow and you in turn help them grow.
Wow. I love this. So the next question is about an aha moment.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the most common aha moment you see when someone joins your academy and starts applying what you teach?
Uh, the aha moment that a lot of people that I'm receiving from the participants that are in there is most of it is One, they didn't even know that they should be doing it. They didn't even know it was a thing. Like LLC renewals. Well, those have to be renewed every single year. My people had no idea. They're like, I had no idea that was a thing. It's a thing. You have to renew it. Another big one, the budgets is always a huge one because people again don't have any idea what they actually need to price themselves. I think the biggest piece is that as a business owner, we understand the million hats that we have to wear, and some of the most common and simple pieces that will make it easier for us, we don't even think about doing because we're so far in the weeds trying to make the business grow. I talk about a spreadsheet, sitting down and writing your renewals. When's your insurance renewal, right? Your whatever general liability and your workers' comp and your Adobe and your website and your and your, I mean, all the things, because you can usually go out and price all that, right? For insurance, you can go out and price it once a year with insurance agents, but if you don't have it written down, more than likely you're never even going to think about it, right? So it's just stuff like that where it doesn't have to be hard. We're just so overwhelmed with the million pieces, So if you can go and get a curriculum and then go, these are 5 things. I want you to do 5 things this month. And most of my clients will go, like, it took me an hour. There it is, right? It doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Wow, that's a spectacular aha moment. And
Mhm.
it does, the aha moment comes not, it comes in the beginning and not at the end
Yes,
whenever they're burnt out. And it's like, uh-oh, I would rather have an aha moment than an uh-oh moment.
every time. Absolutely every time.
So when businesses,
Yes.
you've said that there are some that are even like at the 10-year mark, 5-year mark, 2-year mark, the 3-year mark, it doesn't matter. So
Mhm.
this question is for someone who feels overwhelmed by their business finances,
Mhm.
where's the very first place that they should start?
If you're overwhelmed in your business finances, I would say you need to sit down and find a bookkeeper. You need to find a bookkeeper. You need to find a CPA. I don't do CPA work. I don't do anything with taxes. I have no desire. You need a team. Um, that's what I would tell you. Finances don't have to be hard, but again, it's the piece where if that's where you're struggling and you don't understand it and everything, it doesn't make any sense to you. You need to hire someone who can answer those questions for you and can help you.
That is, I love how you said that. You've got to get a team
Yes.
because when you're the business owner, you have the idea, but now you need
Mhm.
your dream team
Yes.
to go with your dream
Yeah.
because you just having a dream is not going to help you make money. But a
No.
team, you put them to work and you tell them what to do. I love the the information that you were sharing about how would you rather make 500 or 250? Would you
Mhm.
rather be burnt out doing it your own and making 250 or making 500 and that team over there is making you even more money because it's continued you're making money while you sleep.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I get asked all the time, and I mean, Connie, only like people are like, my God, Mindy, like, how do you do all the stuff you do? Because I am online everywhere. I am at a lot of events. I go teach at colleges. I go teach at INCU. I mean, I am all over the place. People are like, how do you do that? I'm all over social media. And I'm like, I have a team. Like, I have 3 small businesses that work for me on my team. And without them, I could not do what I do. But I also understand my value, and that me sitting down writing a PowerPoint or questions or working on social media posts, that is not the best use of my time, right? So you have to decide. And I mean, I think that's where people finally get is I don't want to work 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And that's normally what happens because people either A, don't trust anyone to take care of it for them because they're not going to do it as good as them. Valid. But what if they gave you 80%? What if they did 80% of the work and you only had to do 20? How much more time would you have back in your day? Because I think that's the piece that people really struggle with. It's not even a matter of they don't want the help, it's that they don't trust anyone to do it as good as them. Valid. And I get it. I was like that for a long time. But once you go and you actually give a piece up, and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, and I don't want to do this anymore. And I have a virtual assistant, and I mean, she is phenomenal. I love her. My social media team is phenomenal. My bookkeeping assistant is phenomenal. All these people that go and help me in my business are phenomenal at what they do. And I don't have to worry about them. They take care of it. I work 35 hours a week. I get to do bookkeeping, and I get to go educate, and I get to do webinars, and I get to go to incubators and colleges, and I get to live this beautiful life that I live. And it is not because I am not willing to hand over the reins to somebody else.
I hear you. So women, if you are control freaks, you're gonna have to do some interviews and find your most talented doppelganger.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like frozen all day, baby. You got to let it go. You got to let it go.
You have to. Okay, so we have one last question if we can. Okay, this one's gonna be really good, okay? And
Okay.
this one's really gonna this is gonna pack a big punch because I know a lot of entrepreneurs that are female, and I get it. So this works for males or females as well, right? Because
Absolutely.
okay, so when they are watching today
Yeah.
and they are running their business on nights, coffee, sticky notes, you know what I'm talking about? What is it? Should they do the academy? Is that the first thing? If they're just living on a bunch of sticky notes and coffee, men and women, what's the first step? What should they do?
The first thing I would tell you is to take a breath, right? Let's take a breath. Um, Most of us, when we start this, we have a dream and a vision. And again, once we get into this, we realize that that dream and that vision that we had for our business is not what's actually happening, right? So the question becomes for me, again, do you want to do it alone? Or do you actually want someone to walk you through it? Do you want the mentorship? Do you want the community? Do you want someone to provide strong resources where we are not doing? I mean, stickies is a horrible way. We need to get some organization, right, in our life and in our structure and in our businesses. So it needs to be, if you are sitting around, if you're sitting around at 10 o'clock at night working because you're trying to take care of all these little things with all these little sticky pieces, that tells me that you are in a collision with burnout, and more than likely your business is going to close within the next year.
Wow.
Because unfortunately, you have not set up any type of systems or structure or automations or help, for that matter, in order for your business to grow. And I say it all the time, and I call it the cap, right? When your business is getting to the point where you are no longer growing because you have capped your company, right? If you are so busy being in the weeds because you're trying to manage all these little pieces, you are never going to grow at that point. You have capped your own company. Okay. Your company is dead at that point because you are trying to manage it. Okay. If you cannot manage your company because you're too busy being in your company, you have already failed in your business, in my opinion. Right. So
I love
you
it.
have to make the decision, right? You have to make the decision. And if you are doing sticky notes, that tells me you are probably not organized, which means hire a virtual assistant for 5 hours a week, hire one for 2 hours a week, right? Hire a bookkeeper. If you're pulling those, because that's normally what happens to us as people go and we work all day on stuff, right? A plumber, perfect example. I hear this all the time. During the day, they go out and they do plumbing all day, and then they get off work and they go home and they sit at their dining room table and they send their invoices and they do their accounting and they make their phone calls, right? And that's what a lot of small businesses do. So again, what would happen if you had a form that when your tech was in the field, they could scan the ticket, put all the information in right then, and that would feed into your accounting software and it would create the invoice for you and spit that out to the customer that day. And now you're not sitting down at the kitchen table at 9 o'clock at night sending invoices. That's just
I
one
love it.
example.
So,
It's one
Mindy,
of
you
the
have been a tremendous asset. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Men and women, because men watch this uh, show too. They love it. They are so invested in this information. So, ladies, just remember that taking care of your business and taking care of you, self care is so important. That
Mm,
is why this topic was so important to discuss today, because when you are done with work, it is time to take the lab coat off. It is time to in the um, toolbox. And if you're an entrepreneur, we work 24/7, but that is not the case because you have Mendy, your entrepreneur mentor, who is going to be going, what are you doing? Put that
mm,
down. Put that
mm.
down. You need to go get a coffee. You need to just go for a walk. I guarantee you, I bet that's what you do. I bet it.
My clients are so they're like, because I always say, "Oh, honey, no." It's like this running, and every time they're like, "Oh, honey, no, here we go again," and I'm like, "You know my rule. Like, what are you doing?" So yeah, absolutely.
So in the honeydew list, it's honey. No, we're
Oh,
not.
honey, no. Oh, honey, no, no. What are we doing? No.
Oh, wow. If you all have felt like you were deposited so much information that you need to book a call because this information is so important to you right now, she has a QR code. She has information that she gave at the beginning. If you need to rewind this, go back and take a look. These questions, these were bonus.
Yeah.
These were bonus information. So you all, this is a special delicious treat that Mendy gave to you all, the special listeners. So I'm really excited. So
Well,
thank
again,
you
thank you so
so
much for
much.
having me.
Any last bit of tips or information you'd like to share?
No, I mean, I just would tell people that you don't have to do this alone. You're not alone. You don't have to do this alone. There are people who are willing to love you and help you and support you. So, find that community, join the HTC Academy. Let us help you, right? Bill, I mean, and I just want to say thank you to you. Thank you for building this community that you've built because it matters. And I mean, we are not meant to do life alone, and so, with you doing this and having this platform, I mean, it's created a beautiful community, and I just appreciate you having me today.
You are so welcome. I am so happy. So every first Tuesday of every month, we have a new speaker. It is always they say the best thing you can do is to just give other people a voice. And I just think that is so great. You all don't want to hear me talk every month. You hear me talk all the time on other things. So, y'all check out Mindy's Honeydew Academy and find out ways that you can save lots of money and then use it on vacation.
Yes.
All right, you'll have a good one. Thank you.
Uh-huh.